Okay, this is again a bit of a different type video. I was on Facebook and I saw a Mormon and he showed a picture of himself, and in the background was a Mormon church and everybody welcome kind of thing. Well, yeah, we'll get to everybody welcome in a minute, but let's talk about it. He had this post. He said, "I talk about God, or all I do is talk about God, and people hate me for that." And it's like, hang on, mate, hang on. Let's deconstruct what's going on here and make sense of it. Oh, I've got a text message. All right. Okay, back to the video. So, yeah, I saw this Facebook post, and there was this guy, rather handsome type influencer type guy. As I said, he made this post and he said, I talk about God and all I get is hate, kind of thing. And as I said, it's like no. You can't play that game. You can't play that game. It's playing the victim, and if a group is labelled a cult, they play several games. There's a video on YouTube, Mike Patterson, the DNA of Persecution, right? The ICC cult. Now, he plays the game of being the victim, yet a sort of passive aggressive persecutor himself. And you have to kind of strip away all the illusionary fallacies of, oh, I'm just trying to be a godly person, people hate me, playing the victim. I mean, you could say, well, maybe Jesus played the victim himself, oh, you hate me, oh, kill me, in a sort of sadistic, sadomasochistic kind of way. But these people, I would say they annoy me, and you can't dialogue with them, you can't reason with them, and they seem to have this mindset of playing this game of the victim, and you're the bad person if you disagree with them, which gives them leverage over you, because then you people, you hate God, you're haters, and it's like, no. Let's pick apart this argument. Let's pick apart what's going on here, and see both sides of the story. Both sides of the story. So, why does he think people hates him? I don't know his backstory. I don't know his upbringing. I don't know the guy. It's just a random face on a Facebook post. But so many of the cults play this game, the victim, and as I said, in a subtle way, in a sort of passive aggressive way, it gives them the ultimate leverage so no one can talk against them. And they know that, and they play that game. Abusers can play the victim. Oh, see what you made me do. No. How many abused wives or abused children out there are made to feel that it was their fault by the abusive person? That is the whole dynamic that you see in play. Oh, poor little innocent me. Oh, are you going to beat me up, are you? Kind of thing. And this sadomasochistic reverse psychology, is like, it really is, why do they do it? So let's talk about the Mormon group. Why would anyone hate on that guy? Yeah, you don't know the guy, you don't know his backstory, you don't know his situation, but who does he represent and what is all over his Facebook, and he never talks about anything else but his cult? Are you more than just the cult? Oh, look, here we are. this is our church and we're having fun playing sports. Do you have friends that aren't in the cult? You know? Oh no, because it's a cult and they demonise the outside world. This is the dynamics that when you see it for what it is, and most people unfortunately don't, you can see the BS for what it is. You know, let's talk about the group that he represents, that he is promoting, the Church of LDS, or is it LSD? It makes you wonder. But it's not about him. You know, he says, oh, I talk about God and people hate me. You know, it's like, well, have you thought about why? Do you think you'd have these problems if you were a representative of a normal evangelical church? No, you wouldn't. How many ex-Mormons are there out there with their stories to tell? The problem is with cults are very good at playing the victim, manipulating you to listen to only their side of the story, and everything else is from the devil, you know, and they make a lot of money in the process, you know, the art of manipulation and brainwashing. So brainwashing has netted the Mormons, let me just check that number's right, 200 billion, not 200 million. I mean, 200 million you would think is pretty good going, but no, 200 billion. Let's ask Google. I was wrong. Wow. That should be a 300 billion. The bulk of the wealth is managed by on-sign peak advisors. A massive, this is according to Google AI, a massive secretive reserve fund, often referred to as a rainy day fund. Wow, yeah, 200. Oh, that's the 200 billion. Real estate, annual income, tithing, I believe as well, don't they? You do know Jesus never told anyone to tithe, apart from a hypocritical Jew in Matthew 23. Tithing is not part of the new covenant. But the thing is, you can't tell these people anything. That's why they provoke. That's why they provoke people. You know, and yet they, you know, depending on the cult, their reaction to criticism is a smiley face. You know, it's almost like some kind of dodgy part of Hollywood. You know, a sort of sadomasochistic, smiling, weird kind of occultic thing going on. You know, it's like, why do you allow yourself to be mentally abused by an invisible man in the sky that doesn't exist, and you listen to anyone that tells you what he wants you to do as if they are God's exclusive representative? So anyway, let's talk about it. Let's talk about the group, not individuals. All the abuses covered up. There was a documentary recently on Netflix that I watched. A Mormon. Now, they would, let's say, disassociate themselves from any wrongdoing while they're building their portfolio up. I mean, this is your classic cult, isn't it? Peddling the word of God for profit, seeing godliness as a means to financial gain. I've met Mormons. They seem really nice, but all they want to do is indoctrinate you. Oh, do you want to do... You know, I remember I had these Mormons came round, right? And they had, oh, look, see, we're building a temple. And they had some cups and they were making a temple and they were explaining how their apostleship works. And I thought, so I've invited you into my house and you're just here to brainwash me then, are you? You know, would you like a cup of coffee? No, I don't. I think it's either them or the Jehovah's Witness that don't have caffeine and don't take blood transfusions or whatever. You know, but it's quite. I mean, people's response to criticism, or what they would call persecution, right? Well, I'm right and everybody else is wrong. The proud response. the response of playing the victim, what I call the Stepford Wives response, the smiling, almost psychotic, smiling face of, I'm not listening to a word you're saying anyway. I'm a friendly person. Why don't you like me? That sort of almost psychotic type reaction. And the other reaction of, oh, well, you see these other the Catholics, I mean, God, look at all what they've done. So it's a fallacy to excuse your sin by pointing to somebody else and saying, well, they're worse than I am, so what I do doesn't matter. I mean, who are you voting for? Donald Trump? It makes you wonder, doesn't it? But to absolve any wrongdoing just exasperates the quote, quote, hate. It's not hate, it's, I can't get through to you. I can't reason with you. You're not thinking. You're so brainwashed. You have these programmed responses. Are you a robot? This sort of exasperation of, did you lose your humanity somehow? We're worried about AI taking over. Brainwashing is more of a threat than AI, I would say. And God, what happens if they use AI to brainwash people? And they are. That's the amazing thing. But here's the thing I think. Have you ever heard a Protestant top leader ever say the words, Father, forgive me, for I have sinned? Do they ever put themselves in that state of humanity, state of humility, I should say, where I am a sinner. I am a sinner. I don't wear the label and walk around feeling guilty. I am a sinner. But you admit that you are not perfect and you are evolving and growing, which religion doesn't do. Religion doesn't grow. It doesn't evolve. It doesn't, it doesn't mature. It just brainwashes people into a state of almost catatonic unthinking. I am a robot. I have a lot of phrases that I can use to brainwash you and make you believe in an invisible man. George Carlin, the Religion is BS video, makes me laugh every time I watch it because it is painfully true. It is painfully true in a lot of situations. Now, don't get me wrong. There are a lot of nice Christian people in this world, even in cults. 2 Corinthians 11, you have a sincere devotion to God, but you have been misled into following the made-up words of an angel or some prophet. Don't get me wrong, I think most Christians, I'm talking about 95%, are sincere, genuine, nice people who want to do what the invisible man in the sky tells them to do. But they don't actually question, is there an invisible man in the sky? And where did he come from? And with pride, they will never admit they're sinners. And that because they can't lose their position of a leader. You mean you got drunk the other day? Oh, well, you're not going to be a leader anymore. They're more clingy onto their position within the cult than they are about righteousness. You need 2 witnesses or the abuse didn't happen. Well, what abuser brings another abuser along to have a look? And are they either of them going to admit to any kind of abuse? It's just, gang abuse, isn't it? So he doesn't understand why people hate him. Maybe he never will. Maybe he will never actually realise it's not about him, it's about what he represents.